So welcome to week number 7 of the summer stitch along. This is the study of texture Afghan. I'm your host Mikey from yarnspirations.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. Well, we've had a long summer and it's exam time in a couple weeks, so we need to get you started for that, but we need a small little break. We're going to do the study of summery picnic baskets in order to have some fun. We're going to be playing with basket weave for a duration of your Afghan. Now, this part of the project is probably the most labor intensive, but when it's done, it looks absolutely amazing. So you're going to continue then and get this done, and we're going to head on into the studio now, and we're going to get you started on your picnic basket concept known as the basket weave. I'll see you in just a moment. So let's begin week number 7, the study of summery picnics. Now we're going to be doing a basket weave for this, and you can see this picture here. I'm going to bring up the final sample. Now, of all the weeks, this is going to be the most labor intensive, but I will tell you week number 7, the final lesson that we have is only 1 round. So once we get this done, basically you're almost done your Afghan completely. So I know it's going to feel like a lot of work, and it is, but then we're almost done. So let's go on to page number 2, and I'm going to show you a sample of the basket weave as well, because once I explain this to you, you don't need to follow an entire tutorial like this. So let's just continue. So here's the stitching diagram, and I know what you're thinking. For those that don't read diagrams, it's like, oh my god, where do I start? And the reality is that if you take this piece by piece, it's really quite easy. So it's not showing all the rounds here, it's only showing rounds number 42 to 50 what we have here, but we're actually doing rounds number 43 to 54 because the last 4 rounds are identical to how we start here in 43, 44, 45, and 46. How do I know that? I can tell by the shapes here. So what I've done for you is that I've blown up another diagram to show you how to do the basket weave, and let me just take you to the sample first, and then I'll bring you back and show you something even more clear. So on screen is my prototype that I designed. This is the original one that I started with, and you're going to notice that it kind of flares out a little bit. It's okay because it's near the end, and you can see that there's an ending here that you'll come up with next week. So you're going to notice that there's a basket weave. This is 1, 2, and 3. So there's 3 times it switches. So when we go to do this, the basket weave is working in sets of 4 stitches. So you can see 4, 4, 4. These ones are the back post double crochets, and those are in the backs, and those are in sets of 4 as well. So everything's in sets of 4 except for the corners, because we're continually getting bigger. So what we have to do is that we have to compensate for the stitches getting more and more on this side. So right from this point right onward to the other corner is all the same. It lines up, but as you're working on your corners, you're going to notice that you're gaining more stitches, so you're going to have to compensate for that. So when you look at the other side, it's the same thing that's happening over there. So you can see right into this point here, it's looking the same all the way to the other side, but then it's gaining as you go. So what we can do is that if we look at the diagram, we can do this really quite easily. And so if you know everything's in sets of 4, you have to just watch on how you're starting a round. There's total of 12 rounds. So there's 4 rows, 4 and 4, and they're in sets of 4, so it's just easy to remember. So for you, you don't need to follow every row with me, because honestly you just have to match what's exactly there and just pay attention to how you're starting and stopping on the corners when gaining. So let me take you back to the diagram and let me show you more about that. So we're going to start on week number 43. You're chaining 2 and you're putting 2 half double crochets in, and the first 3 here are front post double crochet, and you can tell that because if you look at the crochet diagram, you can see that the shapes are telling you what they mean. So you can see that there's 3 in a row, and this is because it's starting up and going off into a corner. You're gonna see that you're gaining, so I highlighted in yellow the front post double crochet. So then the next 4 are back post double crochet, and you continue in that same fashion. So the next 4 are front post double crochet, and then the next ones are back post double crochet. Eventually you'll hit all the way to the other side, and what I want to prove to you is that, let me just line it up. See how this started off with 3 front post double crochet? It ends with 3 front post double crochet as you get onto the other side, and then you just do your 2 half double crochets, 2 chain, and 2 half double crochets in the corner. So you can see that they're matching as they go into a corner. Do you see that? And then if you can see that, it just makes a lot of sense. So eventually after 4 rows, everything switches spots. That's how a basket weave happens. So in row number 47, we're then gonna switch and we're gonna do back post double crochet, and then we're gonna do front post double crochet. So these were technically in the back post, so now we're gonna switch the position to make it give its look. And then you keep on doing that, and again you watch out for these edges. So you can see how they just gain out on a diagonal basis. So what you're missing is the last 4 rounds in the diagram, and the reason for it is that the last 4 that are existing in number 51, 52, 53, and 54 is the exact same stitch work as 43, 44, 45, and 46. The only difference is that you're starting way off over here, but it still works out to be the same. So you just want to pay attention to what equals the best. Now if you've lost your counts in any way, the goal is that this first time around that you start is that you should end up with 3 front post double crochets. If you don't, there's a way to fake it in order for you to get that. So if you ended up with an extra stitch, you could put 2 together, front post double crochet, to make it back to 3, and if there's not enough, you can put 2 together into the same stitch to make 3. So it's just a matter of adjusting, because once you do it the first time and adjust, then the rest of the row should equal out for you. So what I want you to do is that we're gonna just get you started, and I want you to rely on this to get you started. So what I will probably do on the crochetcrowd.com, I'm gonna scan a copy of this, because if you can understand this, this means that you can do basket weaves in basically you can do basket weaves anytime that there is a blocking like this in order to make it work. So without further ado, let me get you back up, and we're gonna start round number 43. I'm just gonna get you started, and then I'm gonna have you do the rest of the rounds on yourself. This is a challenge. So for some of you, you're gonna say, well, I wish you would have filmed every row. The reality is that this takes several hours in order to do, and you're going to notice the colors are gonna start interplaying and mixing with each other, but as long as you understand on how it goes on the corners here, you will be successful each and every time. So this is part of your challenge with our summer stitch along, and this is almost the final of it, because next week we have one more row to add, one more round to add, and then you're completely done. So without further ado, let's start on round number 43. So let's begin round number 43. So in the last rounds that we have 2 half double crochets. Remember, the chain 2 doesn't count as anything, so ignore it. So chain 2, and then in the same corner space put in 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2, and skip right over top of that chain 2. Just ignore it, it doesn't exist. And the first 3 stitches, which includes these 2 half double crochets, are going to be a front post treble or front post double. So wrap the hook going into the side and just make those into a front post double crochet, and only do 3 of them. Okay, so that gets you started there. You've got your 3. So now it's just a repeat pattern going all the way to the next corner. So the next 4 in a row are each gonna be a back post double crochet. So just wrap the hook coming from the back. You should know how to do this already, a back post double crochet, because you've been doing it several times in this particular Afghan. So 4 in a row are each going to be a back post double crochet. So what are the next 4? It's a front post double crochet. So you remember, the only reason why the first one is 3 is that we were compensating because the corners in order to get ourselves started. So 4 in a row. Okay, and then the next 4 are back post double crochets. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take you, and I'm gonna fast forward now to the other corner, and I wanna make sure that you're keeping your balance, because you should have the right number of stitches, but if you don't, there's always a way to fake it or make it, right? So I'm gonna teach you that, and I know it's probably not proper, but you know what, why frog all this beautiful work that you've done, so you can actually start seeing that the basket weave is taking effect. So let's continue on to the next corner. So if your counts are not working out because you might have miscounted somewhere along the way, let me show you how to be able to manipulate your counts. So if, for example, you're running out of stitches, so I just put in 4 here. So let's just say I needed to eliminate a stitch. So how you could do that is that I would do it on the back post double crochet. So do the first one as a back post double crochet, and do the next 2, so just going in and grabbing 2 of them at the same time, and do a back post double crochet. So you just made those 2 into 1, and then just put the next 2 as back post double crochet. So it's really going to be difficult to be able to see that there was a change here in the future. So then you can continue then just to go on. So if you're going to manipulate anything, keep it on the back post in order to do it so that you don't see any difference here in the front posts on the front side of the project. So that's just a way to be able to manipulate that in the very end. So what if you were short a stitch and you needed to have an extra? So I'm just in the back post double crochet. The next one I can put 2 back post double crochet into the same post, and then that makes that 1 into 2, and then I continue along. So now I have my equal to 4 that you can see in the stitches, and then I carry on like that. So again, it'd be very difficult to be able to see this in the future, and therefore your counts will then be correct. So it's just an easy way to be able to manipulate the system if you have to. So as I'm coming to the very end, the last 3 will be a front post double crochet, and then you're back in the corner again. So the corners then will be 2 half double crochets, so 1 and 2, and then chain 2 and 2 half double crochet again, and then you just start off the same way that you did the last one. So the first 3 in a row are going to be a front post double crochet, and then the next 4 are back post double crochet, and you keep going all the way. So in the pattern what I've done is that when you look at these, the back post double crochets that you have, okay, you can see that here there's 17 groups of those. So if you want to double check to make sure that all your corners are all your sides are the same, that's what you need to check for. And you will notice that throughout the pattern is that I recorded the number of these so that you could keep an eye on those as you went around. So what I want you to do is that I want you to continue to go round and around and around all 12 rounds, making sure that you're switching. Let's bring back the diagram one last time, and then you're going to be on your own for the remaining of this one. So when you get back around, you're going to end up back around in your 2 half double crochets, and then you just join with the half double crochet join. You've already done that in this set of clues. You're going to move up, chain 2 and then 2 half double crochets, and then the first one is going to be a back post double crochet, and then the next 4 are front post double crochet, and then back, and then continue, and you will see that the side on the other side is completely equal. So because we are gaining by 2 stitches with these half double crochets, you'll notice that 2 just got added, and they were using this half double crochets then in round number 43. So every time you passing around, you end up gaining 2 stitches on the corners on here, 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 and here. So I'm gonna leave that for you. Get all 12 of these done. Remember, it switches every 4, and then it just switches locations, and then do another 4 after you see this, and the other 4 are showing exactly what to do, but right here. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna leave that for you, and then please get your clues done, and then next week it's the final, just 1 round in order to complete your final exam, which is the border. Hey boo-boo, nice picnic basket. I know I'm terrible when it comes to being able to imitate a voice. Now your picnic basket, you should get that done, and we're going to then continue next week as the final week for week number 8. It's the final exam of being able to bring all of your summer education together in order to really tie it up and graduate. So we'll see you next week, week number 8, as we continue the final study, which will be the exam to see what you've learned this summer.